Well, hello, everybody, and thank you very much for taking time on your Monday night. I know we're all hungover from Super Bowl, and whether it's a food coma or a drink coma, or whether it's just the football season's over coma.
Football?
Yes, I understand Minnesota doesn't have a team, but there is this game that they play. They call it American football because it's not exactly played much with your foot. And I know it's kind of weird, but
there's only like 2 people on the entire team that are allowed to put their foot on the ball.
Yeah,
everyone else has to.
Yeah, that's true. But no, but thank you very much for taking time to join us tonight. I think tonight is going to be one of those episodes that's going to be you need to have a pen, you need to have a paper, and you need to be taking a lot of notes because I just have a feeling you're going to get a lot of great ideas on how to get ready for the season ahead. There's everything. We're not talking like one area, but this is going to be like. This could be like 4 shows in one.
It could be.
So do they have to pay extra for that?
You know what? I'm gonna charge quadruple the price for tonight's show.
4 shows in one.
Stars for each one that people like.
What was that?
So do I get stars for each one that people like?
Yes, gold stars.
So if you give me a thumbs up in the chat tonight when I say something, I get a gold star.
Yeah.
See, I spent all day also besides work. I told these guys I was working on my computer all day. Another thing that we're going to talk about here in a little bit. But I also was working on my Twitch channel today. So I was working on custom emojis and stuff like that. So that's why I was thinking all the thingies that pop up the chat.
So, I haven't gotten into that stuff. I'm not as cool as MJ.
You've been busy working on your booth, and gang, we're going to do an update on Dan's booth a little bit later in the show. We want to make sure because we're working on, when Dan gets done, of doing a table show where Dan's going to show his booth, and MJ and I'll show our versions of a DJ booth, and it's going to be a great show for those of you who want to look at some different options because. I mean, seriously, I look at what Dan's building, and I'm thinking to myself, that's like a home for my kids. I'm not gonna.
Apartment smaller than that.
Exactly. So we're each going to come at it from a little bit different perspective, and that'll be coming up here at a future show. So, but we'll get an update from Dan a little bit later. Guys, we talked a little bit about the Super. Dan mentioned the Super Bowl that just kind of went through. Did you get a chance to watch the halftime thing and see the weekend? Dan, I think I saw you posted,
yes.
Didn't you? Okay.
I didn't post, but yes.
Okay, okay. My question is when the last Blinding Lights, I think it was the last song he did, he pretty much played the song out. And that particular song came out, MJ, do you remember when it started hitting the charts?
I don't know.
I think it's been in the top charts for 56 or 57 weeks.
Oh, it's been in the charts constantly, yeah.
Yeah, that's a 2019 song, fall of 2019, that Blinding Lights came out. And that gets to part of tonight's show, and I'm going to start us right here, is preparing our music. In many cases, we've only played once or twice last year. Maybe did a weird event, like a backyard, beer drinking party, but we couldn't have beer, so it was just this weird thing. But we did these weird shows, and we weren't playing traditional music. So our in the field music knowledge for many of us is completely gone or going to be corrupt, and people's musical tastes, because there wasn't a consistent music spot for people to go to weddings and, hey, now I've been kind of up on what the wedding vibe is for the year. That's not there for this upcoming season, and even the clubs. It's got to be a struggle when they start to come back and to find out what's going to be hot. How do you guys? Let's start with the music, and then we'll go into our individual things, because this is one of them that people have been asking about. How much are we going to have to be thinking about newer music when it comes to our events as we go into things getting back to normal?
Go for it, MJ.
On my list of things, update your music was first, because I don't have to do anything, because every single week I go and get the music that is new, the same way I did when I was out DJing.
So you'll have the music, but what's your gut feeling on when you go back into the club? What are you going to be? The night the club opens and they're going to have their big welcome back parties, what have you. Are you think you're going to be playing the things that came in 2020, early 2021? Are you going to be looking at more of that 2019? What's your gut feeling?
You gotta understand, for the people who are consuming it, they're consuming it exactly the same. So they're on their streaming services or their radio or YouTube or whatever. So they're getting the songs at the same speed as they did before. They're just not dancing to them, like at least it is for the clubs and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to be playing a little bit of everything. One of the things that I discussed with a friend of mine that I think we're going to have to be more attentive to is that we think that people are going to really want to go out. So you're going to have a lot of people from different backgrounds at the same place just because they want to go out. So you need to be very good, eclectic, and an open format, at least for a while, because we really think it's going to be not, when you go to the club, it's not going to be just club music. It's not going to be just people who are under 30. You probably get more of a crowd that just wants to go out, that sort of thing.
That's a really great point, because just thinking about a couple of the bars that have illegally opened up here in Minnesota, and I say that is because they can't open. Some have opened, and when they go in there and you see pictures, it's 20 through 60. And some of those bars or those little clubs wouldn't have had a person over 45 after a point in time in the evening. So, yeah, good observation.
I think that's the way to think about it. At least that's the way I'm going to go about it. But it's always, like any DJ, like we talked about a few weeks ago, you got to test the water, see what it's like. For me, because I go off a lot of play counts, I don't get to do much with the play counts, but pretty much I looked at any song that stayed any amount of time in the top 10, I added play counts to it with virtual, just so that when I go and do a search, it would be as if I played it a bunch of times. Mm-hmm. But it's going to be a challenge, I think. I think it's going to be at least a little bit, because you don't know.
Yeah.
Jam in your car to something and it's crap in the club, or vice versa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's my biggest fear is, and that's why the weekend, as we're watching that segment on the Super Bowl, there's like really not a ton of, there's nothing that was danceable, and maybe I'm wrong, but if you take the album cuts,
you gotta get away from that, because everyone I have about his is like, it's like sped up.
Yeah.
The Blinding Lights I have, I think it's 122 or something like 123. It's up there.
Yeah, that's what a person would really have to be looking for, different edits.
I think when it comes to weddings also, like, I don't think you're going to need to worry as much about the new. Exactly as MJ was saying, they're consuming it the same way that they've always consumed it. It's not like, I mean, you would always have your collection of people that, this is our 8th wedding we've been to this year, yep. because all their friends are getting married and they just happen to, but that's not common. Like that's not an every, that's not 50% of your guests. So, nobody's going to be consuming it, or I should say very few people would be consuming it from this standpoint of, oh, I heard it at weddings, and so now I have to hear it at weddings. And so I think just your normal routines that you would go through to prepare is what you want to have. Of course, you're going to have, you don't have the ability to have tested, a song that came out 6 months ago, 8 months ago, to say, oh, let's try it, because I know it's going to feel good, or I know it's going to work because I heard it here. So there's going to be a little bit more testing, I would say, with some of that newer stuff, but it's going to be kind of that same thing when you would have this song that would come at you from kind of like out of nowhere. Like, you're at the event, somebody comes up and requests it, somebody else comes up and requests it, and you go, let me just listen to it again. Maybe I'm missing something. And then you're like, oh, okay, you know what? Let's give it a shot. They're willing to hear it. I've heard it. I think of it in this vein now. Let's run with it and see if that works. And I see more of that, especially in the wedding, where you do have all genres. You have very much open format in a lot of instances, and you have a lot of older stuff that you can really kind of dig from normally, let alone into a year where there's going to be a little bit more unknowns.
Okay.
The places I spin at, we do throw a lot of old ones in there. When I say old, I don't mean like 10 years ago. I mean, like, I will play Dancing Queen. I will play, I'll even drop YMCA. Just sometimes these college kids go bananas over stuff like that. So you can mix it up. And I tell people it's like this. Years ago, it was like around the early 2000s. A friend of mine was in the radio business, and he talked about how when Apple put the shuffle button in their thing that changed the way people consume music, because normally it would be this album, then this album, and you'd have genres together. But after that, it was a lot of mix-up. So even the DJs can take a little mentality to that and throw something in that isn't part of it, and it works with this mentality where 25 years ago you couldn't have done that. So Dan's right on.
Excellent. Okay, so let's jump into the list, guys. I wanted to kind of bridge from that weekend into music a little bit. MJ, what do you got? What do you got next on your list?
I lost it already.
Okay, great. Dan, what do you got on your list?
I'm going to say start working out. Right now we're into this, new year. So a lot of people have kind of gotten into their New Year's resolutions. Some of you probably have already broken them 10, 12 times by now. But start getting into some sort of routine that's going to get your body active. Now whether your idea is to lose 85 pounds or whether your idea is to just make yourself mobile, moving is going to be great. It's so I have Bill Herman on Facebook, and to see him, in sub-freezing temperatures, all balled up, just going for a walk every day. I think that's something that's a great idea. Just get yourself out, walk around the block or whatever, so that when we do start doing events, you're not stiff. Like legitimately, you're not just setting up and you get done and you're like, I didn't even start my event, and I'm like horrid. So, something simple or something more intense, but work out and get that body moving.
And that was exactly where I wanted to go with my first one also, is that getting in condition, because that is one of the things I've talked to a couple of people who have been doing some live streaming, and they have said that I'm not used to standing that long. And you think about it, when we were DJing, and MJ, how many nights you're doing 2 or 3 nights a week, and you're doing that consistently for months, you build up a level of endurance with that.
I wanted to reiterate that since the lockdown, my life really has not changed much, because I'm still just as active. I still, after the show tonight, I'm going to go jump on the treadmill and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I'm on the treadmill, that, or I have a stationary bike. So I'm at least 3 days a week at that. DJing, anybody who's watched my feed, watched me jump around like an idiot. So my life really isn't going to change a lot. So I would agree 100% that you have to, because that's half the reason I'm doing the live feeds, is just to keep that rust, and the rust beyond the mixing rust. I'm talking about you as a performer. Because we are performers. Yeah, you got to shake that off. And like I said, jump on Twitch. I was talking to a guy the other day. He's like, well, I don't know. Just for practice, if nothing else, it gets you ready. So when you do have something, you're not going to feel like, wow, when was the last time I touched that button? Does it still work?
Something to do again? Yeah.
Exactly. Someone commented on my shirt in the chat. That's because the title of the show tonight was about how to get back in the DJ game, and I thought it was about gaming again, so I just would wear it.
He was hoping, man. I was hoping. 2 weeks in a row. This is awesome.
I still have another shirt, so you got to come up with another topic about gaming, because I have one more gaming shirt. So
you can come up with something. So, and did you find your list?
Well, it's not the list. It's something that I actually did today, and I put it on the list.
Oh.
Which I need to get a new one of these things I'm about to show you, because I had a one that I travel with, and I can't seem to find where it is, so it might still be in the car from way back.
Brush.
You have to clean your gear. And a small, soft paintbrush is very good for cleaning in between things.
Yeah.
This is the one I normally have is about half this size. Couldn't find it today, so I got this one when I was cleaning my gear. Begin with vacuuming stuff. If your stuff is set in a case, trust me, it doesn't matter if it has a full case on it. Dirt will find its way. Mm-hmm. So take some time and clean your stuff, because you do not want to show up at an event with this nasty biohazard looking controller with your hands touching it and then going to shake hands with somebody else. No. So clean your equipment. To me, that includes speakers, vacuum stuff out, everything.
So I wanted to kind of go a little bit different direction, but with the software. That for a lot of us, we maybe have only used our computer a couple of times to do some practicing here and there, but there are software updates that we may or may not have run because of the computer's not hooked up to the internet. Maybe there's a firmware update. I actually ran into one of those again the other day with something in the handyman industry that had a firmware update, and I didn't realize it and had to deal with that because all of a sudden it stopped working. But going and updating the software. And then, kind of as MJ's been doing, is practicing. Jump on Twitch, jump on Instagram. I'm hearing people are doing full DJ sets on Instagram Live, which I don't know how that's working, but hey, somewhere, there's SoundCloud or somewhere, not SoundCloud, Mixcloud, excuse me, yeah, Mixcloud. Find somewhere, and even if I was talking to Jimmy, and Jimmy's been doing a lot of stuff on Twitch, and you guys can go check him out. I was watching one of his Twitch streams the other day, and I'm thinking to myself, even if you've only got one person or two people watching, it doesn't really matter, because it's still getting the tools, touching, feeling, and practicing. And I think that,
and like you said, standing,
yeah, exactly, is part of that process. But so anyway, it was update the software. Would be something that I'm going to be doing. And that's not even including updating the music, which is a whole other thing.
One type of software though that we might not typically think about, because if you're smart, you turn it off, and that would be Windows updates or just anything within the computer realm itself. That's one of the things with mine. I actually have mine shut off. There's some tricks you can do to kind of prevent it from auto updating, but now is like the perfect opportunity, because not only can you do it and probably make up whatever you did for the last year and a half that you forgot to update, but then you can also, then turn that back off and make sure it runs through all the paces before you get to that event. So not just your playing software and that kind of thing, but some of the hardware, computer embedded operating system. That's what I'm thinking of.
I did that today too.
There you go.
All these guys before this, all the stuff I was doing today, and like I completely forgot what I was doing. I was like, oh yeah, once I got it done, I got supper, and I just forgot about everything after that.
Should we tell them about the camera, John?
Fingers.
Not yet. Let's take a little break here, and let's go and get the update on Dan's booth project, and then we'll get back into our list here tonight.
All right.
Dan, for those of you who do not know, Dan has been creating a DJ booth. He had an idea of what he wanted to do, TV included, and some space to work, and kind of that little barrier to keep the folks, dance floor folks over there, and Dan over here. So it's been coming along, and it's really taken some shape here. So Dan, you just took a picture for tonight.
Yeah. So I didn't have that picture up. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So this is a picture that I took on, I guess it was just yesterday. And then, let me get the right thing shared. There we go. So it was all nice and everything else. I had this beautiful picture, and then somebody went and, put some like garbage on it, and, defecated on the screen.
I
was
thought
bad.
This was so fitting. You've got your workstation, you've got a professional DJ controller, you've got your computer, and you have professional DJ software on the computer. I think whoever did that was it was genius. Genius, I say. Genius.
John, right here.
Fixed it, yes.
For those of you that are not familiar, first off, it's a Mac running on a PC, but that's another story. So it is the infamous Megaseg.
For those of you who don't know, anytime anybody on this show or any of the Disc Jockey News shows says the M word, we don't have to take a drink.
It's fine here. All right. So this is the picture that I took just a few moments ago. A little bit cleaned up from what we saw, from what you saw in the beginning piece. What I've since done, besides kind of cleaned up all the mess that was there, I have now put in 3 holes into this board here. This one here on the end is actually 2 3-prong outlets with 2 USB. All goes into a plug, and then that plug will run over to where my main power source is going to be. We have a spot for my XLRs to run down through, as well as the power cord from my monitor that's going to be showing what's on the TV so that I can see it from my side at all times. And then there's a third one that's going to be, or that's over here, that'll be power for the controller, power for the computer, USB for the computer, all the stuff that I want to kind of like hide down below.
Yeah.
So that is that picture. And then this is kind of this is the above, so you can see a little bit better picture of the holes that I recently put in. So there you go.
That setup looks really familiar. I don't know why.
I wonder who would like have a computer like that and a controller like that.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Dan and I have the same computer, the same controller.
Yeah.
Until I change brands.
Yep.
And then it'll be all different.
Then everything, because I've just been thinking about that lately. That all of this, I have an idea that I want to do with all behind me when I take the den and stuff down. That whole back wall is going to be something brand new, I think.
He'll bring his motorcycle in and put it up on the wall.
10 years since 10 or 12 since I built this room, so not much has changed. Carpet has changed once, so we're not talking about that, are we? We're talking about how to get ready to get back.
So I'll start this round. One of the things that I think we have lost and potentially lost is the idea of smiling when it comes to we're going to be doing something. And I watch so many people who are mixing on Twitch, and it's like, and this is something Jimmy did so well. Is Jimmy's there and he's doing his thing and he's got a big smile on his face and he's upbeat and he looks like he's having fun. I was listening to what he's playing, and it's like, goodness, this is old stuff. Of course, it was a soul day, but it was older music. But yeah, he looked like he was enjoying himself. And I watched so many people who are doing the Twitch thing. It looks like they're in pain, and it's like I don't know if they need a little late or a laxative square or what they need. I don't know, but to practice smiling and to look like you're having fun, and even if you've got to practice it in front of a mirror to make sure you remember how to do it. Bill Herman had a seminar he did one of down in the cities, basically the importance of smile and what the smile can do as an entertainer, a performer when you're on a stage, of what that says to the audience and how it invites the audience in is so critical. So the visual, but specifically practice your smile.
I think sometimes it's easy to forget, especially when you're streaming, that there's other people on the other side watching. Just from the standpoint of you're playing and you're in your room and there's nobody else in there, so it's kind of very easy to just forget that there's anybody paying attention. Even if you get a little interaction in the chat, sometimes it's like, oh, they're just texting me, they're not really watching me. Like it's just that mentality, like you got to flip that switch in the other direction, or put a mirror in front of you, like put a mirror on the other side of the camera so that you're the only one who sees it.
People in the chat, feel free to comment if I look miserable or happy, or if I stand still or jump around in my feeds. Because I think I look like I'm a loony bin. But like I said, right on the front of my laptop, it's right below the screen, it says "Just have fun," and that's why I've worked all kinds of day jobs, and if I can't have fun doing this, I'm stupid. That's not the right word. There's something wrong if I can't have fun doing this.
Can't have fun, you're wasting your time.
Yeah, I'm wasting. Yeah, there's a lot that's not going right if I can't have fun at this, and so it's normal to me. It's why when you said about that, it's I don't even understand, because I have people come up to me all the time when I DJ talking about how happy I am and they love coming there because it's so much fun, and I just don't get it because I'm not doing anything, so it's weird. But you have to smile. You just fake it because it'll make you look more confident.
And well, but I can see where sometimes it gets, especially as we get into some of those more complex moments, or whether it's getting back into it or different things like that. I mean, you think about any sports, person as they're getting ready to make that shot, like that suddenly the face goes completely, they're having a ball with what they're doing, but they go to make that throw or they go to make that, swing of the bat. There's no smile on their face. Like it's just, like all emotion is just gone from the face. And so I could see where, especially if you haven't been practicing about smiling while you're playing, it could be something you don't even think about because you're so concentrated on that mix, so concentrated on those beats that you just totally forget anything else.
And I don't want to say that's that Serato face that people refer to. I don't think it's as much focusing on a computer, overly focused on a computer, which would be the Serato face, as much as we just haven't been in front of people. So we don't have that interaction. And it's kind of a lost skill.
That's why I tell people mix with your ears, not your eyes, because if you can mix with your ears, you don't need to look at the computer screen. And number two, you look at any type of musician, because I consider us, we play an instrument, whether you think we do or not. Every person who plays a piano or a guitar, you will see them throw their whole body into as they're playing. Concert pianist, a rock guitarist, anything. If what you're doing, you don't feel that movement, and you're just have fun, you know?
And I think, MJ, as you kind of mentioned, you have a sign there that if you're not having fun with having a little, some people do that, have a little smile, the little sticker there on their computer somewhere. I actually, at one of the times I had a little duck that I put on the top, and basically I had the little duck there. It was a little happy duck, and it was there to remind me not only to keep that smile on the face, but I would look at that and make eye contact with the duck, and it's like, oh yeah, I should be making kind of eye contact with the crowd and kind of keeping an eye on them, as opposed to observing them out of the corner of my eye type of thing. I'm keeping track, and I know what these people are doing over here because I can see them. But to be more that hey, and acknowledging. And that was the little duck was my reminder to do that.
I have logic behind it.
Oh, that would be to play
that'd be a first.
Sports album I've got up here somewhere, right?
What album?
Sports. Huey Lewis in the News Sports.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what you meant there for a minute.
Wasn't that okay? So.
Because I thought he said something other than Huey Lewis, and I'm like, wait, did he let Huey go?
Did you see my greatest album ever?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
I saw him in concert when he came to the city. He performed at one of the clubs I was DJing, and he yelled constantly.
Living stereo. This is not dead stereo. This is living stereo.
How that is crack bouncing in the studio.
He's doing, not only Ice Ice Baby, but he's doing his version. He's doing covers.
You dropped a bomb on me is hip hop classics.
Yeah, he's doing Baby Got Back. Vanilla Ice style. Okay. Okay, MG, sorry. We're back.
No, it's fine. I don't mind. You can go off on tangents all day long. I'm already there. It's nice someone else goes off on one. No, for a person who spends a lot of time alone, okay, when I go out and start to talk, I have to, or sometimes when I get on the show, I clear my throat a lot because I have not been talking all day. And that is the equivalent of you guys talking in normal life, but when you get up on stage, you project differently. And if you're not used to that, you might get a sore throat quickly. So maybe some practice talking and different things to get your throat, even if it's just before an event, to loosen it up. Because trust me, just like any other muscle, if you don't use it a lot, it's going to change, and you got to get back to that. So work your voice somehow.
Yeah, that's a great advice, because that I'm sure Dan, his experience when he would go back into that classroom, and all of a sudden he's had to use different.
Oh yeah, and this year was even more so because we're wearing the masks all the time, and so projecting what I normally would do as a teacher, and then doing it through a mask was even another level. That I'm usually strained at the end of the first week, and this year was even sooner. But yeah, so I actually had on here something very similar to kind of piggyback off that. Would be just MC skills in general. You talked about just the voice, but I would also talk about all the vocal coaching type of warm-ups and practices and sessions that you can do just to kind of get those enunciation, get those lips moving, those jaws working, so that when you do get on the microphone, not only are you able to talk more without hurting yourself, but also do it in a nice enunciated way that everybody's going to be able to understand very, very smoothly. So definitely practice your MC skills, and while you're at it, freshen up your scripts.
And that's actually one of the kind of to take off from yours is the idea of going and recording, making announcements, do it in a live type situation as best you can, recreate that. And look for little anomalies that you have picked up in the last 9 months that you didn't realize you had. As I go through and I'm watching some of the videos I'm doing on whether it's tools or what have you, that right there is one of the things I've been doing and out of is using what have you. you're going to hear these things, and then you're just like, wow, I need to really work on that to get that out of my vocabulary once I'm on stage doing my MC work. So get your voice in shape, practice, and then record it and listen for any little anomalies that you need to be removing from your MC skills.
I have one that's probably a little bit deep, unless you guys want to go.
Go deep.
We'll
go shallow later.
This is one that may sound like I'm joking, but I'm serious. And I think some people have already asked themselves this. But as you're getting ready to get back in the game, ask yourself, do you really want to get back in the game? Because you've gotten a taste of, you remember what it was like, but you also remember, the fun times. You remember equipment and different things. And is that something you still want to do? Or is it something because I've talked to a few people that have backed away from it on a professional level, but doing it for fun, and they're enjoying it a lot more. Just DJing with friends, having fun, and going, yeah, I'm going to get together with my friends and DJ at this place. But it's not like I'm going to chase down the gig. I'm going to do this. I'm going to hustle. So ask yourself, do you want to do this? Because we all know if you're working a day job, this is practically like a second full-time job, So is that too deep?
No, I think that's a great question to ask, because I think you do have folks who experienced the summer off, had the Saturdays. I mean, I'm in that boat. I had Saturdays off, and I enjoyed that. And because of that, I did have that conversation with myself. And boy, I'll tell you, sometimes I just don't listen to what I say. I mean, I continually tell myself, it's like, hey, if you just listen to my logic, and then I ignore me. I don't understand why I do that. I think it's in the water. So I looked at it, and it's like, I'm not going to be booking my summer up. Even if we're fully open, I don't want to be busy that way this summer. I would rather spend that time with the children, because I've another one going off to college this fall type of situation. So I asked that, kind of went through that, the mental gymnastics of doing do I want to be booking? Do I need to, financially, do we need to be booking every weekend, every show? And I know for some people, their heart may not be in it anymore, whether it's because of the Saturday situation, or it might be that, maybe I'm 50, 55, 60, whatever it is, and maybe it's time to go and do something else, or go to a different, where I'm home by 10 o'clock on a Saturday night, unless I'm out having fun. So I think it's a real question that everyone's really going to have to answer that at some level, at some point in time here, probably in the next 6 months.
Yeah, it's a good time to check yourself, and if you need to step away, this is a time where stepping away is going to be kind of seamless, as opposed to abruptly falling off the ledge. You can bow out through this, and trust me, I guarantee we all know someone who has done that, is planning on doing that.
Oh, no, I think I've dozen at least, and that's just in my circle of people I talk to on a semi-regular basis.
I consider it. Last Saturday I didn't go out. I sat at home and I'm like, man, this is really nice not having to go out and jump around. That's the weird. Now, I'm going to be honest with you where this comes from for me. I don't know if I've ever told you guys, but I'm not much of a people person.
Really?
No.
Oh, for real. I know I keep it secret, but it is. But
you learn every day.
But it's odd because last week I did the Monday night show. Then I did my show on Wednesday. Then I went and hung out in the chat room after my show. Then did the mix along with Jimmy, John C, and John Jazz after that. And by that time, again, not being a people person, I was mentally wore out from that, like spent. And I was thinking that part of my life, DJing, does for me mentally crushes me. It wears me out because I'm performing. I am throwing every bit of everything in my body and mind and soul into DJing, and it wears on me. And I think about, like, can I make money without doing that? Because I'm telling you, I didn't like that feeling. I had fun when I was doing it, but afterwards, I'm telling you, I just didn't want to do anything. I was normally go to the store on Saturday, but I ended up running out on Friday, and when I got back home, I was like, I'm done. I'm not leaving. And I haven't left, obviously. So
I wonder, because of the situation of the COVID concern, oh my gosh, will I catch it from someone, or however that played in people's minds. Our DJs who haven't been doing anything for the last 9 months, 10 months, is there going to be a level of anxiety that they're going to have to get across that first time they go out? And how long will that last? Is it something that once things go, it's going to be all settled down and we're all good to go? Or is it going to be this ongoing thing for a period of time that they're going to have to get? And will there be some DJs who get to the point and say, you know what, I can't do this. I just can't do crowds, and they're done.
Oh, there's definitely going to be some anxiety associated with it. And I think just to the standpoint of, the level that it is for that person is going to depend upon how they've been affected by it. I think those people who have either had a scare, whether it's been they received it and, it was a while for them to come through it, or they had somebody close to them that was in that situation, or God forbid, even worse. I find those people are going to have the biggest anxiety when they do go out and are amongst people in that type of setting. For myself personally, I went through, it was probably about my third event before I was kind of like, okay, I think I can do this. I think I can be among everybody. I'm going to keep my distance. I'm not going to be, right on top of them. And then, I get into the flow of the night, and before I know it, the night's over and everything was fine. So like, I still had the concern. I still was being cautious, but it wasn't like the first couple out, I was terrified. And we do an event every year. My wife and I, we do it. We raise money and it's adult prom. It's this great event for the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. And we were trying to figure out this year, like last year I had huge anxiety. Like I was nervous. I was sick for days, just trying to figure out, do we try and pull this off? And then we pulled the plug, and a week later, the governor prevented us from even doing it anyway if we wanted to. This year came around and we kind of had that same thought, like tickets are supposed to be going on sale now. We've got to figure out 2 months from now how things are going to be. Do we go forward? Do we not? And so finally it was, I was just like, I was all wrenched up because I was fearful that I was going to put together something that would cause a spread, that was going to create an issue, or I was going to get sick or something like that. And when we pulled the plug on it this year, suddenly I was like, like just all this weight just kind of came off my shoulder. And that for our couples, I think a lot of our wedding couples have been in that exact same situation because, they don't want to postpone because they've been looking forward to this event. They, since they got engaged and who knows how long before that. And yet in the same respect, they didn't want to be held responsible in case something happened.
Yes. Yeah.
And so, for some of them, when they decide to postpone, I knew sometimes we see it as, oh, they're postponing. They don't want to postpone. This is like a gut-wrenching decision for them. I mean, I'm sure there's a couple, but I think a lot of them are dealing with that gut-wrenching decision that when they finally do, it's suddenly like,
yeah,
I've got to do all this work again, but I don't have to worry right now. Like I can breathe. So definitely going to have some anxiety and I know I kind of went that tangent. We all did tonight. Who cares? But that's going to be there, and how you handle that is going to be tough, but you can pull through it if you want to.
I'm glad you explained it like that, Dan, because that's that stress. I'm no joke. That's me. If I DJ 3-4 days a week, that's me 3-4 days a week. Like I love Mondays because this is where I'm taking all this in. Obviously, I love the DJ. Even if you just watch my Twitch stuff, but prior to COVID, I did not listen to music because my brain couldn't handle listening to anything at all. I was done with music. So if I what reminded me, Gus in there was talking about after the show, him and his wife don't listen to music on the way home. They talk. That's the point where I got where I couldn't listen to music anymore. I just didn't want to. And since COVID, I've been like posting stuff all the time. Tonight I threw on this old 80s hip hop channel on Spotify, and I was posting stuff over on all my news feeds about that. So it's something that I look at that I love listening to music. Do I want to go back to hating it again? Or feeling, not necessarily hating it, but feeling really pressured by having to perform, and that takes the love of the stuff that makes me move and want to dance. It takes it out of there. That's why I question all that. And again, I don't want to be Captain Downer on this, but it's a realistic thing. You have to look at life and see what is your final goals, what is your hopes, what do you want to get out of life, and this is something you have to, do. Some people, they couldn't live life without like a 401k and health benefits and stuff, or other people, they couldn't live life without having a schedule of their own. So
I found one of the things that helps with that when you kind of get in that mode, whether it's the music or whether it's whatever it is, where it's the stuff that you really like, but then suddenly because you're doing it all the time, it just doesn't have that same love anymore.
Yeah.
What I found, at least for myself, that tends to work is I do the complete opposite. So for example, when I'm coming home from an event, I don't quite go to the Gus route, but with no music. But in the same respect, if I was playing in one of the bars and I was doing basically pop and hip hop all night long, when I was coming home, I was listening to country, I was listening to classical, I was listening to something that was complete opposite of what I was listening to for the last 4 hours prior to that. When I'm coming home from weddings, because I'm playing a little bit more older and stuff like that, a lot of times, again, I'll go to more newer. I'll go to, more. I have Sirius XM, so I'll listen to some more just like mix show type stuff and channels. And again, just to kind of, for lack of better terms, the whole idea of flush the format, flush that kind of out of my head of what it's been at for the last 4 or 5 hours before that.
That what you were describing there, MJ, with the hating of music isn't quite, but that's to give the visual. That in the mid 2000s, I hit that wall, and I quit listening to music basically because I was DJing every weekend or a couple of times a week, and it was the wedding, and time and time, and I got to the point where I was just absolutely tired of music. Early on, people would say, "Oh, what's your favorite? What's your favorite song? What's your favorite music?" And for the longest time, it was like, I like what I can make money with, so that's where I'm at. Then I got to that point, and they're like, "What's your favorite?" And it's like, I hate it all. Seriously,
what's your favorite song? White noise.
Yeah, exactly. What do you listen to? I listen to talk radio.
White noise.
And, and that's what it was all about for the longest time. And if nothing else, this year has changed that just because of not playing out as much. Yeah, I actually now know how to find and create and find and do the Spotify playlist. I haven't done that before. We've got streaming speakers all over the house, and we've got the office shed here connected to the house, so we can stream back and forth, and it's really kind of a cool thing.
I have several playlists on there, so feel free to subscribe to some of my playlists.
That idea of just getting to the point where you just don't want to be hearing, and not just the YMCA or the Cha-Cha Slide. It was like, I don't want to hear anything. And so
I can't explain that, and I know we're beating it into the ground. I think we should try to be more positive. So I'm going to say on that if we want to make a show and talk about that, we can, because I think if you've been in the business any length of time, you've hit that at some point. So I think maybe we should take a future show and talk about burnouts.
Music burnout,
how easily it is. I just, like I said, I look at my life and what I get to do, and I feel blessed because I'm not working a 9 to 5 that I've worked before. I've worked factory jobs before. I've worked outside before. And this is the one that I don't dread. So if worse push comes to shove, I'm not miserable. I may back off of music, but I always use the example. I said, if you own a pizza shop, you're not going to come home from work and make a pizza for supper. You're just not. So that's kind of what it all comes down to. But
I have this show title, Gaming the System to Avoid Music Burnout.
I can get my last shirt that I was going to wear.
Shirt, and we got to.
But yeah, so let's go back to something. Let's end on something positive, John. Dan.
The one I want to hit here, and then we'll get to Dan if you have any last ones, is mechanical. Some of us, we have DJ trailers. Our trailer hasn't moved very far in the last year. Some of us have a DJ truck that has been out exactly twice in 2020. It went 65 miles last year, and that was it. So in my case, that truck has gone in. It's going to be going in for an oil change, but I've had to charge its batteries a half a dozen times. Just put a battery charger on it once a month, even though it's inside and it's climate controlled. But these vehicles and trailers are going to need maintenance. If they've been sitting for a period of time, You may need to have the bearings repacked on the trailer, checking tires and making sure that they're in shape, that there aren't any in the little grooves, there aren't any weather checking going on and cracking going on. Just maintenance of your vehicles, because it's one of those things that's kind of embarrassing to be on your way to a show and having something happen and say, yeah, I'm not going to be there for a little while.
Find a varmint living in there halfway to an event.
Yeah, I had a truck like that where on the way to a show, a mouse pops out of the dash and it was right up on top of the dash. Yeah, it happens.
So I'll run through mine real quick. So the ones that I kind of had still hanging out. So start hydrating now. You know, if you're not, that kind of goes back to the what?
I want to throw into that. That was one of my last ones. Buy some energy drinks, because I haven't had an energy drink in a year. So
he's got to be prepared.
But no, just hydrate now. Start working on getting that fluid intake, so that way, you know, the night of when you are talking a lot, if you don't realize you end up moisture. You know, not spitting, but like you end up drying yourself out. And so as a result, that's why it becomes even more important to try and hydrate and keep yourself going. Checking your cables. So we've talked about, you know, keeping up on your equipment, but especially your cables. Like it's very easy for you to just go, oh, they look okay. Like, but especially if they haven't really been out, they've been kind of coiled up, and especially if you don't coil correctly, you know, you would definitely want to do that. And I'll give a little plug for Ben Stow's Moat, mother of all testers or whatever.
Yes.
They can test, I think, just about every cable that there is, every type. So, you know, pick up on something like that and run all your cables through their systems. Sorting your music. All right. If you're like me for the past 6 months, because things haven't really been going on, my music's all just kind of gotten there, and I haven't really fully updated and sorted the way that I should. In addition to taking out this old stuff and moving it to like a folder that's there, so I need to have it, but it's not my main area. And then the last one is charge batteries. Brian Red talked about that in a video, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, where especially if we have battery up lights, you have any of your battery systems, if you haven't been charging them, that's not good for them. Yeah. Like for them to just run out and go dry. So, you know, charge them, even if you've got no events, like even if your next event isn't for like 6 months, charge them now. And then, you know, in a month, charge it again. Just go through that and keep them full, so that when you do need to use them, they're at full battery, they're at full life, and they're not dying because you had them go dry for a while. Okay, that was my list.
Good. MJ, did we hit all yours?
Yeah, the energy drink was the only thing that was left. Because I like I said, I look back at the year, like how much things in my life that have changed and things that haven't. And I've rambled through to these guys. I don't feel I need to do it on the show, but things that I have not done in a year. And energy drink was one of them. You know, because I thought about how many. I DJ 3 nights a week, so usually at least 3 nights a week I'm pounding a Red Bull or Monster Energy in me before I DJ, or some point during the night. And I haven't done that in a year, so I wonder how my body's going to react to an energy drink, because I don't drink coffee. So I've had like no caffeine, nothing, other than like stuff that maybe was in a soda or something here or there.
Maybe not do it. Maybe be done with them for good.
Maybe.
Possibly. The thing is that, like I said, if you've watched me DJ, I throw a lot into it. Every night I'm DJing, I leave soaking wet. I'm throwing everything into it for 4 hours. So sometimes, you know, at my age, things slow down. So you just need a little bit to make it past midnight, and then you're fine. You know, but it's I don't know. Like I said, that was the only reason I would do it, is because, like I said, some of the places I DJ, you have to be full tilt. You know,
all night long, yeah.
Monster Energy till 2 a.m. or quarter till. But a lot of them will just like, you know, hey, go ahead and do last call, get everybody out of here, flip lights. So, but yeah, it's I don't know. You covered me on all that, so yeah. I don't know. It's good. It's been an interesting year. I've learned a lot about what I want out of life this year. I really think that it's set some priorities where other stuff I would throw myself into and push hard, where now I'm looking at it going, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm okay. I don't need to be Captain Superstar.
Captain Superstar. Is that Marvel or DC?
Heart attack. If I did, someone in the chat, for those who are wondering why I'm laughing, said MJ has to pound a Red Bull when someone says the M word. I'd be like this the whole night. What do you want to say?
No, because when you're out playing, like nobody would use that word because
No, because it's funny. Because I continually keep going off the deep end on tangents. But if I talk to the wedding guys about something like phase, the phase system, a lot of times they'll say something like, "Yeah, I got that replaced last time I got my car inspected." And if I talk to the club guys about the M word, they're like, "What's that?" And then I explain to them what it is, and they're like, "Why would anyone use that?" So it's the different worlds that I get to be a part of with all you guys. We're all DJs in our own way. So.
So next up, after we wrap up here at the top of the hour, Howie's got a crew coming in tonight. Alex and John and Eric and Bill. The crew is going to be talking about how much music you need for events. And you can go out and watch the recording of that. It'll post later in the week, but you can go out to djntv.com/chill, CHILL, and we'll put that into the chat here. You can go out there. They are going to be recording that, djntv.com/chill. They'll be recording the show tonight, and then and you can just come in and shut your camera off and your mic off and listen to the discussion. And there's a little chat there. You can put some thoughts into that and maybe bounce it, whatever they're going to do. But they recorded for about 20 minutes to half an hour, and then they'll carry on the conversation until the wee hours of the morning.
And that you can be part of.
And you can be part of that and have some fun, because that's just kind of a time to get together. And the idea with the chill room is that if you've ever been to a DJ convention and the talk in the hallway, the talk in the entryway while you're walking down the strip or the boardwalk, that's the kind of stuff that you can do in a chill room, is to just hang out with other DJs, other people who are doing the same thing that you love to do, and talk shop, or if nothing else, share some of the struggles and successes of life. Tomorrow night, we're going to talk tomorrow because some people were asking Ben his thoughts on the Super Bowl halftime show. And we've done this a couple of times over the years when there's been a unique halftime show. So tomorrow night, Ben wants to talk about the halftime and specifically production for an event like that, when it isn't like it usually is, when they had to do some different things up in the stands and then bring that down onto the field. There's some challenges that arose from that situation. So we're going to dig into that a little bit tomorrow night. We don't know when that one's going to start. It'll either start at 9 o'clock Eastern or 9:30 Eastern tomorrow night. And the reason for that is that my daughter has a basketball game, and Dad's going to be there because we do basketball. And then she's one of two musicians who's been playing pretty much every national anthem at the school. And she's really good. So we don't leave until she's done and everything, and she's done with that, and then we come home. So tomorrow night at some point in time, we will be doing the Benstow, and then after that, Jay and Brian will be taking the chill room and doing a session tomorrow evening also. MJ, Wednesday, what do you got going on?
I don't know if I'm doing a show, because I'm telling you, last week kicked my butt. But I do know that I have virtual DJ how-to coming on Thursday. They went on there, so that's coming. I don't know. Hold your breath or not hold your breath for Wednesday. I don't know. I'm kind of feeling it out, like I said. I just want to see where I'm at.
So the key of this week is, what time? It depends.
It depends. We're taking up Ben's still line. And I think,
if you didn't see last week's, I had a good interview with John Holman. It was a really good show. Like I said, all that talking with, again, the people thing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and that was a very good show, but it was like scratching the surface.
Oh yeah.
And it wasn't even scratching the whole surface. It was just like scratching this one little area. And there's so much. And after when he brings out the plaques after the cameras were off,
the stuff he showed us off camera.
It's
that you
like, oh man!
I'm telling you, that's the stuff that I see him, and it's as if someone set their phone down on the table. That's his equivalent to noticing it. Oh, there's a phone. Well, we're going, oh my goodness, that's with and there and.
Yeah. So it was neat to see, and looking forward to more of John being on the shows in the future for surely.
And then John, next in the beginning, you dropped it in the chat.
Yeah.
Next Monday night.
Next Monday night, we'll be on our regular time, but ahead of us, Alan Berg. Once a month, third Monday of the month, we're doing a convention series show. Alan Berg put together a little session we're going to be doing next Monday evening. For those of you who'd like to see that, you need to go out to DJNTVtraining.com and just sign up to the free level. You'll get to watch the live next Monday night. That will be at 8 o'clock Eastern. And there will be links and such, but you got to go and sign up for the free level or a membership level. Once it's done in live, then it gets shut off for the free level, and it's only available for the members with all the other content that you can see at DJNTVtraining.com. But that'll be 8 o'clock Eastern next week. We'll be on at 9 o'clock Eastern next week with our show, and then Howie, hanging out with Howie at 10 o'clock Eastern next Monday night.
Awesome. Well, on that note, I'm looking at the time and I'm like, Howie's like, staring us down. I can feel it. He's just watch us. Like, you guys are getting closer. Are you, what's going on here? No, but on that note, I do want to thank everybody for taking time out of their night. I told you got a page of notes, and if you didn't, go back and watch the show and get your page ready again. But it was a lot of stuff to get you ready for this year, because we definitely don't want to leave anybody out in the dark or unprepared. So thank you very much for taking time out of your night. Again, just like, make sure you have your notifications on so you know when things go on YouTube, so you can find out all the shows this week. Have yourself a good one. We'll see you next week.